Hi, I'm back. Okay, that was lunch and a little break from everything. I got to wash the dishes in the kitchen, and I'm back here now looking at my code from this morning, and I'm well, apart from it not working, of course, since I broke everything, I'm trying to come up thinking of a better way to do this with my state machine here. Since I have this feeling that I'm actually mixing two different levels of the state machine and at the same state, so it ends up in I'd say more complicated than it has to be, or the code isn't as readable as I want it to be, or something like that. So I'm thinking I should set both these states in the same call to avoid mistakes. MQ state is the function, so I'm going to do next state if next state. So I can put in a negative value to prevent it from being set, like that. And then I'm going to make sure that I set next state like this. Ooh, even better, I have a better idea. I'll set MQTT next state, and only if state is MQTT first state. So if we go back to first, then we also set the next state. Used if state is first. That's pretty good. Then I can But in this case, we don't have a next state. So we just reset that back to the first state. Yeah, that's sort of, so when I go silent, you can at least hear my keyboard. So that's good, right? Actually, I think sometimes when I go silent, that's actually the best proof that I actually have a good idea what to do. So when you know that when I'm yapping a lot, I'm actually not very productive. And the keyboard isn't actually that loud. It is louder than a silent one, but it's I have what's they called, MX red switches in my mechanical keyboard. Okay, so now I didn't actually change much here now. It builds again. I've sort of cleaned up my state machine function, state machine change thing, but I'm back to the failing test 1190. But now it never ends. Might be a good that's a fine logging. Oh, we actually get the disconnect. It's just that we don't act on it because we're in pub remain. Pub wait. Remaining length from MQ first, and then it goes to pub wait, which is, I think it's right, 30 is published, yes. So yeah, and that's the C over there, that's hexadecimal, so we see that it's 12 bytes. We can convert it, and yes, it receives 12 bytes, so it has received everything. And it goes back to pub wait, because there it can then get another publish. Oh yes, it's wrong. Pub wait. It should go, yes, it should actually go to MQTT first, because it's at the end of a full packet. So doesn't end, back to the trace. Next is, I'm going to extend that to assume the next state as well here in the if the first is first, otherwise I'm just going to code style violation. Remaining length. When it changes state there, it changes. So here's the correct thing. The next is pub wait. But that's the next when it goes from remaining length. When it goes to first instead, because it messes it up there. Let me see if I understand this. Gets the first byte there. Switches to there. It switches to remaining. Doesn't update the next. And in there it changes. Oh right, there's no. No, it's actually this one, and this is a bit of a. So I need to do something to handle that we actually already read the entire packet here without getting any payload, because everything came in the first fix header, like the disconnect message. So it is a disconnect here. Do like this. If there's a remaining thing, we do the break. If there's nothing remaining, we can switch back to the original state, but we can also handle boop. Okay, I think that is actually a step forward, but we got a valgrind error, but apart from that it exited. I'll just figure out what it did. Reading in which function? Read publish. So we read 458. We read, I guess it's this. We read beyond the packet size. I think that's doing it the wrong way. We already have the remaining size there. Should only come to this state when the packet number is there's no packet read already. It only read the initial byte and the remaining length, and that's the only time it gets to this state, and then it'll switch state immediately to the state that actually cares about the remainder of that packet. So I think that something like that. So, oh, look at that. A test success and not a valgrind error in sight. And quite a big change. Since we redid the state machine quite a lot. So, okay, let's get immediately into the, I was going to say the next failure, But okay, so that worked also. And a big publish, does that work? No, sorry, a big subscribe. That is in more of a, it's not very big, but it's 2K, so it uses more than 1 byte length. Okay, exactly. What did I do now? Something must be wrong, right? It's actually, the original test cases are now working again. I'm going to commit this in a new little branch, MQTT fixups, it's going to be called, and remade the state machine. I'm going to go back and do the commits before I push anything, but I just want to get this state pushed or committed so that I at least can go back to this state when I break everything and burst into tears later on. And 1194 then is the one I actually wanted to get working. That's amazing, right? So 90, 91, 93, 94, 90, was that? Yeah. So the 94 one also works. The 94 one is the one that sends publish before subac. And now we want to do this. I get the 94 before the 90. And I want to make sure there's because the 94 now uses this server command thing. So I just wanted to make sure that this is actually cleared or removed before the next test, so that that doesn't affect any other tests. And if we do them without Valgrind, they will run much faster. And that's also usually a good way to torture this a little bit. So I can 1191, 1192, 1193. Here are all the 5 tests without Valgrind. So they run really fast, and then I just to repeat them 10 times. So right, and in a random order without Valgrind. Boom. Yep. 50 tests did okay. So that makes them, well, not necessarily solid, but at least it seems to be pretty good. Verify publish MQTT publish before subac. Okay, so basically that was my first item in the MQTT to-do of the day. The server may start to send publish messages before replying. Whew. Okay, cool. So at least there were some moments of confusion and stuff in the morning. You shouldn't upgrade things. You're on Debian Unstable, or what do you run, Frank? Debian Unstable is it's called unstable for a reason. It's actually kind of, I use it all the time, and it's usually fairly stable, but sometimes things don't go the way they're supposed to, and then you get to pick up all the pieces yourself and handle it. So okay, this is the first one. So okay, awesome. Bullet point number 1 done at 13:24 in the afternoon. I started 9 this morning. Yeah, well, I wasn't super productive, I would say, and I talk a lot while doing this. So number 2, the failure return code in the subac should be checked. The failure return code in subac Hello, subac. Subac. Failure. So there's a 1-bit failure. Wait. Packet payload format. So return codes other than are reserved and must not be used. This is oh, sorry. Again, the sort of that's a this silly OBS. It sometimes lose track of the browser window I'm showing. So yeah, that's TweetDeck. That was actually my. I don't think I'd show you any secrets, but that's my TweetDeck look. So that's how I look at Twitter. But so when I sometimes I don't know why, but OBS loses track of which browser window to show in this particular setup. So all of a sudden it resets back to the other browser window. That's the one I run TweetDeck in. So if it pops up a TweetDeck there, you know that OBS played a trick on me again. OBS is a pretty cool project, and it's very good for this streaming setup that I'm using. But it's well, it has room for improvement. I won't complain because it's a cool project, but it has some of those tiny glitches every now and then. So this is the subac description: fixed header, variable header, and the packet variable header. Packet starts with packet identifier. And then there's a payload. So the remaining length will include all the others. So it's a packet identifier. So now I'm looking at the code at the same time. And now I'm having a bit of a hard time to show you both at the same time, of course, since I don't really have this on. So I have it, the code looks like this. Verify subac. So it only verifies that we get the packet ID, the same packet ID back that we sent in the subscribe packet. And it verifies that it isn't 0, but and that is the packet payload success. So it actually does check for, it won't accept it if it returns a failure in the subac. So the comment was wrong. We're actually already handling that. Maybe not in the most nice way, but still. And then payload byte format none. This is weird. What is this? Byte 1, byte 2, byte 3. I don't understand. Okay. I'll leave it like that for now, and I'm sure someone will help me understand that better, because I'm too stupid to do that right now. Yeah, so this is, I added this one. Partial MQTT. So I wanted to make sure that basically, let's add a new test case. Or 1190 somewhere. 1195. I almost always just clone one of the existing test cases and create a new one to make a new. So since this is a copy then of 94, 95, no, it won't work because it has the test case number within the, like before it's here, 34, it should be 35 and 35, and now it should work. I think. That's fun. But I wanted to make sure that when the server stops midway in some possibly publish, right? That curl will notice and return an error correctly. So MQTT D publish. So I'll add another instruction to the server that basically says cut out and stop sending at some particular point, and pretend it was fine, and the client should detect that and disconnect and return an error back, and we should verify that in the test suite. So I will just add another one of those commands like this to the server. And I should have some good for MQTT we introduced publish before true, then publish before sub and I'll do a maybe just call it, it's a simple one, short publish set short so where am I? I got a phone call, I just dismissed it. Struck me that I want to not only send it short, I want to disconnect afterwards. It's otherwise, if I just send that message short and the other ones following, they will just be out of sync. So Yeah, maybe I should just I can, yes, if I do it like this, if publish log message publish failed. Config, I think, is a global variable. It is. So if config short publish, I'll just send amount because there's a packet len and I have a send amount which is going to be the number of bytes it actually sends, and I'll do a send amount is packet len because that's the way it's supposed to do it. But I will decrease it with 2 bytes. So this will basically act as if it was a send failure from the server. It'll wrote short publish like that and return failure. What do we say about this? Well, that means I didn't update the test properly. It should say publish before subback, and we don't need that, but we want a short publish. We could do that as well, so I don't have to modify that part of the protocol, the assumed protocol after the test. And now it doesn't do anything, right? So because it got stuck. MQTT, the log says wrote 12 bytes, short publish fail, disconnect. But the little client thing, it didn't really handle that. Receive data. When it tries to read something and it receives 0 there, that's a sign of a closed connection. So it is in pub remain, and that means it is still reading data from the publish, and it will keep on doing that. If nread, not nread, if nread is 0, we read 0. Server disconnected. And then we need to maybe not assert, but we need to, that's a weird server reply, or you know, there's always the funniest game when writing curl code is coming up with which return code to use when doing something new. Bird couldn't resolve, couldn't connect. It would be most of an unexpected disconnect, but I don't think we have any such error codes. Got nothing is not. No, I know. There's a partial. That's the one. Partial file. That has. That's a good answer, I think. Well, with many protocols, the server reply is supposed to be weird, right? So, but I guess the weird thing there is unexpected protocol-wise. And I want the here. I didn't log the protocol thing here. I should log it. If RC is bigger than 0, then we do that. And then we I handle the return like that. So always log to make sure that I get even the partial write that the server does there as instructed. I get that partial piece logged, that I can make sure in the test case that it actually writes exactly what I thought it would write. 1195. So, and then we see it there now, right? So it didn't get that publish, that subback, and that disconnect, but it got it shorter publish, and it's supposed to be 2 bytes less than we intended. So if we remove 2 bytes from the end, and then it disconnected, that should be it, and it should return. Right, that returned 18 when we expected 0, and we tell the error on the test case that we expected to get an 18 back, and 18 is partial file. I usually do this so that 18 is just to make it. So when you read the test case, you understand why do we expect number 18 there. So now we see that the curl tool will properly detect that we get a prematurely disconnected transfer. And yeah, well, a previous a publish that is broken. Should probably also just check what if we send a bad conac back, or not a conac at all, or conac. Hello. Conac. There it says. So all the others are, if it's not 0, they're basically various different errors. I find it interesting that it can say connection refused as a error over TCP when it's obviously it accepted the connection. But okay. Here it is, verify conac. So yeah. Conac. So I will do another test case. How many can I do in this number series? All the way up to 1200, at least 96. So I copied 1195, and I'm going to not do those instructions. I'm going to error conac. Basically sending back I don't personally have a use case for MQTT. Basically, my use cases for curl, they were fulfilled a long time ago. So this is this is based on feedback from users, really. So over the years, we have this annual user survey in the curl project, which reminds me that I should get going with that for this year. I should really put it up and polish it and ask everyone soon again. But anyway, we have that every year and ask users a lot of questions about curl, how we behave as a project, how you use curl, and what you're missing in curl, what we should remove from curl, and all sorts of stuff. And then there's this eternal question, sort of, what protocols are you missing, or would you like to use in curl if it had supported it? And MQTT is always a high-ranking answer among those alternatives. So it's been there lurking in the background for a long time. I've been aware of it. I've been aware of people saying that they potentially would use it. And then I also, a while ago, a long time ago, years ago, I asked on Twitter about the interest for MQTT, and a lot of people said they were interested. And then my brother provided his initial patch for MQTT, and a lot of people seemed interested in that patch. So it's been a progressing journey of dipping the toe in the water and checking what are users interested in. Would you use it? Is it fun? Is it good? And also a road trip for me mentally to accept the fact that we can sort of adjust the concepts of MQTT and view it as a almost sort of not too terrible fit for curl. The upload download concept that curl has, we could almost consider that for MQTT as well, with only a little bit of only a minor headache. I mean, as in publish and subscribe isn't actually upload download, but almost. So it's not a use case for me personally at all. I don't even have anything that speaks MQTT for real. I've been thinking about getting something just to sort of encourage me to play around with something real that speaks MQTT, but I haven't done that yet, so I don't know. I'm therefore also very open-minded that I might not do this the best possible way for the possible use cases that people have for MQTT or will have the first one. So I'm trying to do my MQTT stuff in small steps at a time and land them subsequently and sort of just get feedback from users, so users can get an opportunity to actually try this against real servers in real use cases and try it out. Does this work? Is curl behaving the way you would like it to behave in your use cases, and so on? And it's also why we have MQTT as experimental for now. So we basically don't guarantee anything when it comes to MQTT supporting curl. We may redo everything, we may jank it out again, we might change the API or ABI or whatever when it comes to MQTT, or actually anything that is marked as experimental. So you're better off not relying on MQTT being exactly like this into the future, as long as it's marked experimental. A long answer to a short question, but so it is experimental. We're going to try out a few things going forward. Hopefully it'll be fine and people will find good use for it and will appreciate it. Otherwise, we'll do something else. I'm going to add this new little thing in the here. Bool error connack. Just another one in the same series to just pretty naive and simple instructions to the server to tell it to do weird things to the client when it wants to communicate. So this time I have this information text on the stream, right? Working on improving MQTT, just to make sure that you all know what I'm doing. And this is actually still accurate as well. Often when I have that little text sign, I sort of wandering on to do something else, and then the information text ends up completely wrong. But in this case, it's actually still right, because I'm still working on improving the MQTT support, and it's going pretty well right now. So this may very well end up a decent. Oh, I did make in the wrong. A decent pull request eventually, if I just don't break anything terribly wrong, bad. So I was in which test case? 1190. Was it 6? 5? 6? I did 6. And it did error connack. And when I do error connack, I needed to do so that the connack function also. Similar style, if RC is larger than 0, then log everything. All right, yeah, it'll probably, I won't do a short write for this, but I will do like this. If config error connack, then this should return an error back, and connect acknowledge. Now I'm back to the spec again here in the connack. there are 2 bytes, and we're sending 2 bytes right now. They're both 0. And then I'm looking at, here's byte 1. And first, who writes a spec when they index the bytes from 1, right? That's byte 0. They index the bits from 0, but the bytes from 1. What kind of consistency is that, huh? So SP there is session present. There's some magic, extra magic that I don't know about. Connect return code. And the connect return, yeah, that's okay. So that's the one we put an error in. Oh, no, I have a better idea for this. So I can do error connect. It could be a value. Byte value. It'll be an unsigned character error connect. So that's the entire byte value. 0 by default. Log the parsed result or the parsed value. If it sets, oh, we don't even have to read it. We can just do 0, 1, 2, 3. So packet number index 3 is the error connect. Woohoo! Fun! Does it work? And it has the wrong name. Did I even update the name for 1195? I didn't. With short publish 1196 MQTT with error in conac 1196. Oh, error connect. 1. Error 1. I'll now copy the text from the spec. Oh, sorry, I missed to show you the code again. Connection refused. Unacceptable protocol version. But it's something's wrong because it's the wrong conac. And wait a minute. It uses one N there. It's supposed to be 2 N's in conac. How did that happen? Conac, and now I'm going to break every test case just because I updated this. Yee-hoo! But right should be right? Conac, but it still says 0, 0 when it's supposed to be 0 something else. MQTT.log error conac. of course, it reads that instruction way, way, way too late, so it can't. So I need to redo how we get the test case number so that I can respond to the conhack already. So maybe I will instead what do I do? What do I do? I could just create that. I could put the test case number in that instruction file and read that much earlier, and then here it says already read it from here, so we could read it already when the client connects, and I could put the test number in there. It's actually not a bad idea. I should actually do that for more protocols. It would make things better, I think. I wonder what happens if I do that generically. I'd probably break a lot of things. Probably, but that's the here it writes the FTP server command. I think here's the test script that it invokes. Wonder if I did that for something else. Test number. No, I didn't. Test. Why did I never do this? Should I take this? Should I take this step right now? Is this right? Is this going to help us? Probably. So what's the name of it? We call it FTPD command. As a trace from the past, because it's not only for the FTPD command anymore, it's used for all protocols. And if we do like this, FTP server command, now it'll always say that for every test we invoke, which is a lot more than we do right now, but okay. Test number. And then I have a function, it's test num. Test num. Maybe test num is better. $11.96. Here's a little test. I just want to make sure that E. Or maybe it makes an unlinked later, right? Let's not unlink it. At least not for now. I want to make sure that it looks correct. Test number 1196. So in the server get config, it will now read it much earlier. Get config, because that will get the test number from the config instead of anyway. I think this is actually pretty awesome way to do it, if I may say so myself. So I'm going to do test number, and I'm not sure I'm keen on the capital T, but let's go with that. So I'm gonna log what it reads and make sure that we can figure it out, what happens. And we don't have a test number by default, so that we can spot when everything goes sideways. Let's do the test. Yeah, the test number is an integer. It'll be fine, I think. Test no is long for some reason. Not sure why. I think it is in many places, but I don't know. I think having it an integer will be good enough. Test number will be config.testNum, and now it should just magically work. And now we don't need to figure out the test number. We already know the test number. Yeah, so this will now not compile anymore because I destroyed a few things. I'm just going to repair it. The stream is a local variable. I can make it here as a file. Error, what is error? It's probably an integer. Data. Okay, then let's see what I removed. Server MQTT. Data and datalan I removed as well. Datalan. Function definition is not allowed. What did I break now then? I missed some semicolon somewhere. there's a mismatch brace somewhere. Where? Oh, in the new stuff. It should be like yeah, like that. Okay, so if we find the test number, we get the file name to use that file name. Yeah, I think this could work. Let's try it. Look, we got an error back in the CONAC. Exactly the way I wanted it to be. Okay, this was a more invasive change than I wanted it to be, but I think in general, I think might end up like a good thing. It did a connect, it should get a CONAC back and nothing else, and it should be 1 there, because that's what we told it, right? In 11, we set 1, said 1. Shouldn't be 18 though, and the error code shouldn't be 18. Double N. I broke all the test cases for that double N. Yeah, it returned 8. Yeah, so 8 is. It should probably say something about not being allowed to connect, right? Maybe not couldn't connect. Couldn't connect is usually the TCP connect refusal. No connection available. Quick connect error. Okay. 8 is the weird server reply, so let's stick to that for now. So that at least we bail out on the CONAC error, even if the error code might not be the most appropriate one. So let's do it like this. Now I'm going to have to rerun 1190 to 1196, and they're going to fail because I renamed the CONAC to get to ends. Fix 1190, 1191. Yes, please. 1192. Run them parallel with me loading the next one. 1193. 1194. Could have just searched and replaced. Just 1195. I fixed 1196 already. The question is, first let's do this. I will commit the server, the test suite fix separately. Run tests. Put test number in server command file. Always. '95, '96. MQTT handle short read publish. Tests. More MQTT tests. More and polished. So now, yeah, now those tests seem to work, and now I'm going to, just for fun, run, since now we do that little test number thing for all protocols. I just want to see how that affects, if any, other tests. So let's run all the tests. It takes a while. I used the switch-n to switch off Valgrind so that it runs a little bit faster, but as you can see, it says remaining time here. So 5 minutes or something until they all, well, maybe 4 minutes. But it really has no clue. Just guesses based on the time it took so far and based on how many tests there are remaining. It'll just guess that maybe run this much. It has no idea. It might be fairly accurate. I don't really know. I'm actually pretty happy with that thing of putting the test number in that instruction file, and that we can actually use that to get away or fix a lot of other things we do in the test suite when we want to know the test number before we get it from the actual request. Yep, I'm going to use that as a way to enhance a few tests going forward, but not right now. Now we're in MQTT, and now at 14:19 in the afternoon, at least I have some sort of success and progress to what I started out this morning. In my to-do list here, add test case for partial retrieval. I did that. Other than the test broker, a read broker will not send disconnect. Okay. Okay. These are more like, not bug fixes, because I pretty much knew these two. So for simplicity, I just made the test server disconnect after it sends a disconnect to the client, but apparently that's not the way a real broker will do it. They won't disconnect the client. The client will just sit there and wait for possibly many publishes or whatever, or more publishes if you send stuff. So I'm going to have to consider how to handle that. I think the command line 2 will probably need new options to say wait for a while, or maybe time out if there's more than X second of silence after a publish from the broker, and or maybe wait for this many publish for from the broker. These publish messages. I don't really know. Pretty much I need some feedback and ideas from users, so we'll see. One thing at a time. Fixing the protocol is valuable, so I think that's a good first start. What did a test server come up again? Test mosquito.org. No, totally broken. Interesting that this curl version it says it gets the no route to host error from the IPv6 failure, and it reports that back. But the first one, oh yeah, that's the sort of the happy eyeballs. But when I used my local build, it picked it from the IPv4. Complicated when you do happy eyeballs. Yeah, seems to work. I know, for example, the FTP server could really benefit from getting the test number that way. Especially the ones doing, because it gets the test number from the path when you do an FTP request to the server. But since, I mean, the trailing number after the rightmost slash, but since when you want to test a directory listing with FTP, you have to end the slash, no, sorry, you have to end the URL with a slash, and then there's no test number for the test server to find. After the last slash. That would have been a fine thing to fix that with. I don't remember exactly how we solved that. Data grep list test 100. Here's a Aha, right. It can find it in the path. That's how we did it. Ah, forgot about that. Yeah, it was many different hacks to get the test number. But now I have a more generic one. 2. Fun. Exactly. No, but yeah, I should. Well, I'm not going to do anything about it right now, but I can actually use this to clean up stuff at least later on. And all the tests ran fine with that, so I will squash that. Just wanted to make sure that, oh right, I made that little MQTT thing. Documented that as well. Ooh, I should document it in that file. Like that. And yep. Fix up, run tests again. And now I'm going to clean up the commits so that I can make a pull request out of this that is that looks better than this. I mean commit message wise. Remade the state machine, test blah blah blah, tests more, and let's put run tests. We do that first. I'm going to do so tests verify MQTT better and more tests. So now we're down to 3 commits, and that's more proper, I think. So it wasn't perfectly clean now either, but at least right. Maybe I should just squash everything into 2 commits at least. I'll keep the run tests commit separate because it's a little bit separate, but I can. The other one, I'll just do that, I think. Like that. They're not really separate anyway, so. I will refer back to the mail from their bug reported by credit where credit is due. So Christoph Cray pointed out to handle publish before subac and more. Existing. And save that, and now it looks like this, and again rebuild. And now rerun all the MQTT tests just to verify that I didn't break them. Where am I? Run without Valgrind MQTT only. Burn. Without Valgrind, they're pretty fast. 7 tests, 100%. Cool. So let's make a push a pull request. So that's how you do it. I created a branch before, and here we are in curl land. Well, on GitHub. I usually create a local branch in the actual So it's really convenient for me to create pull requests that way. Just create a branch. It also makes it easy for anyone who want to play with my code before it lands. It's there in a local branch. You can just click it like this and it's in there. But usually we land the pull requests pretty quickly if everything looks good. I'm going to create a new label, right? Where are they? Edit labels, there it is. So I'm going to create a new one, MQTT new MQTT color do we want? Does it matter? That's a fine color. MQTT. The labels aren't super important anyway, but I think it's... Yeah. Sometimes I use the labels, if nothing else, to make sure that they've been handled in some way. Someone has looked at it, so we sort of categorized it. That means that someone looked at it. And here's another pull request for setting the client name to dict. I question the value in adding code for dict. I'll save that and I'll comment in the pull request later. So I think I'm going to be happy with this for now. I filed my pull request. I'm sure that there will be some details to fix in that pull request. So that's pull request PR 5246. Here's the link. So that's the one to look out for. Usually when I do this on the stream, I do a pull request, and then you know, there are quite a number of CI builds these days. So if you go here, we can see that CI jobs we have right now, we have almost 80 different jobs. So it'll take a while until they've all has run. And usually I've messed up somewhere, and they will point out a few problems, and I will go back and fix them. Well, I wasn't that fast anyway. But anyway, I was just going to say that. So there's a lot of CI jobs running now, and I'm sure I've done some stupid mistakes, and something will point out some mistake that I did in formatting or using a variable wrongly or something. Unfortunately, the downside with having a lot of CI jobs is that a lot of them will fail intermittently. So basically they never end up all green, because we have so many CI jobs, so there's always something not working exactly as it's supposed to be. So everything going green, that's a very rare occasion and reason for very big celebrations. So yeah, Codassi is a code analyzer. It says it's good. I don't know if that says much for us, but anyway, I will say hello or goodbye for today, and I'll get back to more streaming. Not today and probably not tomorrow, but I'll figure out some other things. Or if you have an idea as you want to fix or get a help with fixing, or we could dive into something, we could do that at some point. So I'll be back. I will whenever I'm going to do my next streaming, I will update that page on the Twitch homepage or my channel page there, and I will tweet about it on Twitter. And if you're not on either of those, you will not know when I'm going to stream. Well, I guess you can follow me on Twitch. I think you will get a message when I activate my stream if you're on, even if you follow me or you become my friend or something on Twitch. So you could get that message and say, hey, now Daniel is streaming again, and we'll get lost in code for 2 hours. So try one of those methods. And I will upload all of these things to YouTube afterwards in case you want to go back and see me do my mistakes again in slow motion. That could be fun. And now I think it's time to get a coffee refill and pause my voice for a while and just enjoy the pull request. So see you around soon again. Bye.